Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day, and I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend that everyone in the world calls Booby.
No one calls me that. Bowing you.
Good morning, Bibby.
Good morning. It's our first show of 2020 together in the office.
Yeah, we've done two from my out of studio, out of office, from home studio even. You've done a couple with Luke from the studio, but I've drawn the short straw today. I have to sit in the studio with you. God damn it! God damn it! I'm joking. It's. I was gonna say it's kind of like, you know what? We're finally hitting the ground, being all professional in the studio. But I'm dressed like I'm about to go to Tesco, get a full bag of cheesy whatsits kind of thingy.
And I'm dressed like I'm about to go football training with my Adidas tracksuit bottoms on.
So yes, chilled out, comfy Mondays. If you were in the chat, please feel free to say hello. We want to know if you were there. I mean, exactly like Number One Pirate has done. Hello. He uses the emote. Good morning. Do you know what? You're all the way over there. Just come here. Hi, welcome. So we are Ice Cream. This is The Scoop. Play on words. We did it on purpose. That's what it's meant to be. And that is... The Scoop is our daily podcast each and every single weekday, 10 a.m. UK time, Monday to Friday. We bring you The Scoop, which is a daily dose of all of the news from the games industry and beyond. We bring you our thoughts, our impressions, and if you are live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads watching, get involved in the chat. You guys can give us your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions on the games industry's news. That's kind of how it works. Easy. And then, about an hour or so after the show's finished, we turn it into a standalone, on-demand video podcast that we upload to the Ice Cream Uploads YouTube channel, which, funnily enough, is youtube.com/Ice Cream Uploads. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? Kind of a trend. So, yes, an hour or so after the show's finished, that video podcast goes out so people can dissect it, take it all in on demand, and then a little bit later on in the day we put 4 versions of an audio podcast out as well on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play. I've got that nailed now. Although I do kind of feel like I need to rejig that order in my mind, because SoundCloud is the daddy for us, as Bibby keeps reminding me, keeps looking at the stats. If you are listening to this on SoundCloud, thank you. You are very nice.
Repost and like it, please.
Yes.
I know people do that. I know it's easily our most listened to platform for this, barring obviously live on Twitch. So please do feel free to repost it, like it, subscribe to us on there as well. That'll be much and It'll be muchly appreciated.
It'll be much and appreciated. It'll be much.
I was just saying, it'll be much anticipated, but you know, if you do follow us on there, you'll be able to get notified when we do put a track live. So that's even better.
Yes. And a little bit much.
All the things.
But if you are in the chat, obviously on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, you guys get to interact, just as Pirate has done with his exclusive Ice Cream Uploads subscriber-only emote, which is, if you're new here, it's based on...
this guy.
Yeah, I thought you were going to do it then. That's what
that's why I know he's going to put me on the spot, but it's a very occasional thing, as in like... The action needs to be there. I can't just shout, "Oh, hello," to the news articles.
Easy, Valvinus.
Hello, ladies. Don't worry, I brought my towel in today.
Anyway, weekend. What'd you get up
to? Ooh, I don't want to talk about it. I'm still feeling the effects from Saturday night, if I'm being honest.
Do you remember sending me that video?
Absolutely, about 1:30 in the morning. Absolutely fucked in Lola Lows. I do, yeah.
I genuinely thought you were wasted then, because you were sending Lola Lows. I was like, was that supposed to be LOL?
No, I was in Lola Lows. But no, Friday night we ended up streaming. We played a lot of GTA for about 2.5-3 hours, which was... I absolutely adore that game. The online aspect of it is fantastic. However, the loading times are brutal.
Yeah, it's like Escape from Tarkov, where you kind of go, I'm gonna go for a raid, a scav run or something like that. 10 minutes later, it's like I'm readied up. Literally, there's me and 2 other people. It's the same 2 people that have been in the last race. I want to go into the next one. 10 minutes later.
Yeah, because even at the end of one race, you get to choose what map you want to go to. it'll send you back to the loading screen where everyone else can join, and then it'll invite everyone that's from that world back into the game. Then it's got to go to a loading window. Then you choose your car. Then you choose your attire. Then you bet your wagers. And you're looking at about 15 minutes before each match.
And you do all of that, and then you end up sat looking at a laptop screen while everyone else is racing around the arena.
I was absolutely livid with that.
What is this? What's going on? The worst thing was, and the best thing, because it was piss funny, me and Daniel were sat watching you, wetting ourselves, watching you doing that race, and then you play and just kind of went, eee.
Yeah, I don't understand. I didn't even press anything else. I pressed brake. And then, it's so weird. Unless you play GTA and you know how to drive the aeroplanes, it's so weird. So you can use L1 and R1 to like toggle your wings, so you can just move slightly left or slightly right. But when it's like a 90-degree angle turn like that, yeah, you have to turn completely sideways and then down, so you pull yourself round. So I tried to do that, and then for whatever reason, my plane stopped in midair and just started floating up in the air.
I'm sat there watching it going, it looks like it's glitched or something. It's going to respawn. It's going to respawn. It's going to respawn. It's going to... In the chat, respawn!
I just floated around for ages, so yeah, I still ended up winning it. Like, whoever it was. I don't know why that other guy's speedboat was faster than mine, because there was no overboost that was on the... that rubber banding is mad.
It's funny you use the word speedboat. It absolutely was no speed involved. It was like... So if you want to see this back, feel free to check through the past broadcast. It was the last broadcast before this. What was it called?
It was robbing banks and dodging shanks.
Class name. So go check it out. Obviously, wait until we're finished here today. So yeah, we watched it. We were watching live as you were playing through that, and like the car bit, smashed it. But yeah, nice. First playing bit, there was a bit where you had to get a ring that was near a rock face, and I thought,
here we go.
Anyway, all the way through, I was like, oh yes, back into the car. And as you got there, it was like 5 minutes in, and then then you went through it, and it was like lap 2. That's what it. That was 5 minutes.
It's a joke. I don't like get matches on Need for Speed aren't that long, but he wants me to go around this massive track again. But I do. The best part of GTA Online for me is the racing. It's so good. Like, it's better than most racing games. And then I tried to do other things. Did I end up doing I did like one online mission where the fucking Burke at the end brought me into his car, and then he was just doing laps and donuts just before he posted.
Monster trucks.
I was going to get out and shoot him because he was just pissing me off.
That's what I was in the chat. I said shoot him. Shoot him.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an amazing game if you've got the time.
I genuinely thought he was gonna run you over as well.
Yeah,
so when you were stood there waiting back, that's why I was like, get out of the way. Get out of the way. But
yeah, that was Friday, and then Saturday I didn't really play anything. Then Sunday we played Fortnite.
Yeah, I did. I started the weekend with grand intentions. I'm going to play more. Let's mute that. Play more Jedi Fallen Order. I'm going to play a bit of Luigi's Mansion again. But yeah, did my usual stuff. My dailies on my Fortnite, my dailies on my PUBG, and then Friday, Saturday on the beers, mate. Sunday I was just like, I just can't be bothered. So I just did my daily stuff and got rid of it. So I haven't played anymore. I want to continue playing Fallen Order, and I want to continue playing Thingy. But when you're in demand and you got Bibby WhatsApping you, telling you to get on Fortnite, that was me to him, by the way.
I'm about to say I was absolutely hanging out my arse yesterday, and then Graham's like, "Man up, Fortnite." It's like, oh, for God's sake!
I needed to play 3 games with friends, so I was like, "You can get on that now."
So yeah, that was a good thing. I'm just looking now, and the camera keeps on glitching. Have you noticed that?
Like a little thing at the bottom of the screen.
A little small bit of static.
It's we've been cyberpunked.
Yeah, well, I think when we go into the first news article, when I start, I'm going to leave this video playing here with no sound.
We're going to do that second.
Yes. Okay.
Because we were opening with the story from the tweet.
Okay.
So let's jump straight into the news. So obviously, if you're new here, please feel free to say hello. Oh no, Pirate actually wants us to get going. He's used the "Let's go" emote in the chat. So, all right, chill out, mate. Calm down. Calm down. Bring this up on screen for you right now. Jumping straight into the news, and do you know what? It's kind of a non-story in terms of it's not actually real news. Nothing has come out. It's more like a lack of news, but it's interesting still, to say the least, as we jump through this. So as you can see, written on VG247 by Stephany Nunneley, don't expect Xbox Series X exclusive games from Microsoft until at least a year after launch. So Microsoft doesn't plan on releasing games exclusive to Xbox Series X until at least a year after the console launches. Speaking with MCV, Microsoft's What a name. Microsoft's Matt Booty said to expect titles to be playable across both Xbox One and Xbox Series X, at least for the first year or two. And then he goes into quotes here now. As our content comes out over the next year, 2 years, all of our games, sort of like PC, will play up and down that family of devices, said Boutte, head of Xbox Game Studios. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and Series X, that they feel that they made a good investment and that we're committed to them with content. As far as Xbox exclusives are concerned, there's Halo Infinite, which will release for Xbox One as well as the new console. It is one of the games the firm wants to focus on when the console launches, as a big opportunity to basically show off all of the Series X's new features. We need to make sure that we can hold the bar high on quality and that we're releasing games that we can be proud of and that the fans can be proud of as Xbox exclusives, said Boutte. And then, lastly, we need to continue bashing the microphone in an aggressive manner. Cheers, bitch. And then, lastly, we need to continue building characters, stories, and worlds that can transcend generations, devices, and platforms. A solid release date yet for the console, other than Holiday 2020, hasn't been announced. It's possible we'll get a release date around E3 in June. In the meantime, here's everything we know about the Xbox Series X. We're not going to link through to that article, but in short, no exclusive titles at the launch of Xbox Series X.
So, Halo Infinite is going to be their exclusive, though, but do they mean exclusive to the console and not to PC? Because they've already said that Halo Infinite is going to be a launch game title.
I got it as I take it as generation exclusive. So Halo Infinite has been designed to work on the Xbox One X and the Xbox Series X. So no doubt there will be, like when you buy a game for the Xbox and you get Xbox One X enhanced and it looks better and plays better, it's going to, I assume, don't know, obviously my assumption. My assumption is that it's going to be Xbox Series X enhanced. So you'll get your One X privileges if you buy it on an Xbox One or an Xbox One S. You play it on an Xbox One X, it's going to look and play better. You play it on an Xbox Series X, it's going to be like... but there's nothing that's designed purely for that at this point in time. Nothing, not for the first year or two, he said. At least for the first year or two. Oh no, the assumption from MCV is it'll be the first year or two. So yeah, interesting. I mean, it's kind of a bold move. That's my mind made up. Which way to go this gen then? PS5 says next gen.
I mean that's I think that is the premium choice. The PS4 did so well. I had a tweak with the cameras, but I've just realised it's the wrong camera that I've been tweaking. So I went to go and use that one, but it's actually this small one.
Hi.
So I'll sort that one out later.
See if you. Oh, you broke it! Look, I look like a weirdo wearing a grey hoodie. Chat. I think. I mean, obviously we'll all end up getting one of each anyway, because that's just what we do. It's kind of the rules. But my feeling is that Sony have gone, okay, we don't need to market for the sake of marketing. I mean, they clearly don't, because they've got, what is it, the second best-selling console ever, or the third best?
Second.
So 106 million.
PS2.
What's that?
It was first to the PS2.
Yeah. So 106 million consoles sold, or something like that. PS2 was like 150 million or something.
Yeah, it's stupid, ridiculous.
So it's never catching that, but they're kind of going, well, we've won this. We don't really need to do anything. We've got no games coming out. The Last of Us is a million miles away, so we're not going to do E3. This is obviously last year, not right now. So we're not going to do E3. We will focus on our content, our games, when we have releases. And the fact that they've kind of gone, okay, let's just shelve all our resources. Not shelve them, let's take them out of the limelight. Makes me, they have to be going, okay, well, we're going to have, the PS5 is going to launch in Holiday 2020. Potentially going to be announced next month. Yeah. But you just feel that Sony's worldwide studios are going to be like, hello, here's a Horizon Zero Dawn.
Well, we've seen how bad the Xbox One's launch was initially, and how bad that's given the... Oh my god. How far in the race they have gone. Oh, gee. Fuck me. Right, reroll, we'll start again. So we've seen how bad the Xbox One's launch was, for them to be so far behind to potentially do the same thing again, and just giving the ball to the PS5 to PlayStation to be able to score as many goals as they want and then play catch up again. It just seems a bit odd.
It is bizarre. Morning Phantom says yo in the chat. Good morning. Yeah, it is bizarre because you think about, obviously we've got cross-platform. Everyone's shouting the benefits of cross-platform, particularly Microsoft. They are trying to be the for the people kind of thing. PlayStation's motto was obviously for the players. Microsoft were always talking about the most powerful console in the world or whatever it was. But they're not undermining, because you can't undermine it, so to speak, but underneath that they're also going, we don't want console-exclusive games in terms of, we don't want to make it so that you can only play Spec Ops on Call of Duty. We want that to be for everyone, because that's anti-consumer, which is a hugely powerful message. I was like, how's he done that? The GGWP's gone backwards, but there you go.
Sprinkles,
yes, nice use. So yeah, it's all right to have that sort of message, and you think, okay, we want to be for the consumers. We want to make sure crossplay works. We're going to start working with Fortnite on the Switch and stuff, and make Sony stuff. So you kind of think, okay, these guys are fighting our case. They are going there for the consumers. They don't want any console, not console exclusive, but timed exclusives or anything like that. But then you just think, okay, you're on the right track. You've been buying up studios left, right and centre at E3 and at all the Xbox on conferences. It's like you get the Xbox World Premiere and then they go like a new announcement, whatever's just joined Microsoft's World Studios kind of stuff, and you think, okay, you've got developers now. You've learned that Sony have been absolutely smashing the single player solo story experience, and that those console exclusives have hands down given Sony this generation. The fact that you've got The Last of Us, obviously that was last generation, but obviously remade. The fact that you've got the Horizons, the fact that you've got the God of Wars, the fact that you've got the Spider-Mans, and these bits there, and then you look at what Microsoft has in return. You have Gears, but Gears 5, so you've got another sequel. Forza?
They had one Halo game, a couple of Forza games.
But the thing there again is sequels. Where Sony's added brand new IPs. Granted, there's a new Last of Us coming, which is a sequel. You can't, maybe a little bit different because it's only the second sequel. You get generally in a series, you'll get the first one, which will do good. You get the second one, which takes that first bit and makes it better. It works on it, and then at that point you get the point of 3, which either pushes the envelope a little bit further, or people go, okay, I've been there, I've done that, I've played it, it's fine.
Well, we're saying this though, but the games that are going to be potentially being bundled in with the PlayStation 5 is what have we talked about? Horizon Zero Dawn 2. We're looking at Spider-Man 2 next year. The only new IP that they've got coming out, I think, is Godfall for the PlayStation 5. So we are going to be getting a lot more sequels. We're getting Last of Us 2 that's coming out, obviously granted for the PS4, but you're going to be able to play it on the PS5 because it's going to be backwards compatible apparently. But the only IP that they've got coming for the PS5 is Godfall, as far as I'm aware, unless there's something that I've completely missed.
No, that's the only thing that's been announced. I remember it being like picked up in the news articles around that. It was a State of Play it was announced, wasn't it?
I think it looks dynamite. It's definitely a game that I want to play.
It looks like some sort of like Destiny-esque. I mean, I'd definitely up for giving it a try, but it was that will always have the little bit of what's the word? It can say that it was the first ever announced PS5 game. We know that there's other stuff that will be on the PS5 most likely, but that one is the first confirmed PS5 game.
I mean, even when the PS5 launches, imagine having the entirety of the PS4 catalogue to be able to play on that day, on day one. And also, if they end up bringing PlayStation Now, which I imagine that with how well they're trying to push it now, I mean, I say well with like a very pinch of salt, because PS Now is nothing compared to Games Pass.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing. I mean, let's jump back to Xbox then, rather than saying how, because I think we're all in agreement. It kind of saying in the same chat. Phantom says Gears is dead now, same old. Next Gen Renegade says the Dragon Gears game's out and it's killing the franchise for me. Should have ended at Gears 3.
Yeah.
So you've got things like Gears and the last Halo game, which was the last one. Was it that one that's just IDST or whatever it is.
Oh, that was it, the Halo 3 ODST.
No, we call it IDST.
Is it Reach, the one that's just come out on PC.
So like there's Halos and there's Gears and there's Forzas, each of which are well into the fifth, halfway through a decade of releases in that sort of sense. So this just needs a little bit more, a bit of oomph there. But so we're all in agreement in that. So let's go back to the positive stuff on it then. They do have the Game Pass side of things.
Yep.
So they have games that they are giving you thick and fast in much bigger quantities with a lot more offerings. Yeah, exactly. And not stuff that was huge. So those massive first-party titles that Sony's got that are selling consoles, it's all well and good that, but then when your PlayStation Now is your subscription service that's meant to be the PlayStation version of the Game Pass, and they're giving you that game, you're like, nice. But I bought a console for this, so I've kind of had it 9 months ago, and now I either play that massive headline title from PlayStation Now, or I play like some really duff lower thing. I mean, I said really duff, that's obviously generalising. When I said duff, I mean like, I'm not massively into indie games. I like my AAAs, my big blockbusters, BRs and things like that. So if I'm playing some little indie game, it doesn't tend to hold my attention. So if I'm choosing AAA that I bought last month and then just the indie game of the headline games, it's like, but Xbox Game Pass, PUBG comes out, as soon as it hits Xbox, into the Game Pass. Forza hits it, Game Pass. Gears hits it, Game Pass. Boom, boom, boom.
This is the thing. I mean, we've seen. It was a big debate that we had last year. I think it was over the Christmas podcast actually, when we was talking about Gears itself. It came out and went straight onto the Games Pass now. Digital sales compared to people playing it. Physical sales, digital sales, and then people playing it on Game Pass. I'd love to be able to see the numbers between that, because would Gears have done so well? Would it have sold? Would as many people have played it if it wasn't on the Games Pass? Would it have sold a lot? Because I don't know how many people actually bought the game. I will try and dig it out for tomorrow's figures.
There was a little bit of research in that, and someone, I don't know if it was on Gears or if it was something else, and it was basically the Game Pass. No, it wasn't Gears. It was something else. It was, I can't remember, something that had been out already. Anyway, that getting added to Game Pass, they thought would just wipe out all sales of it, but it actually increased in sales from the simple marketing adage of, if you've got people talking about stuff, people are then interested in that stuff, they will then go out and buy it. So essentially you've got Game Pass and you go, I'm playing, let's say it was Forza, I don't think it was, but I've been smashing Forza this weekend, it's fucking class, and I'm going, I want to play something that's fucking class. So then I go, I don't really want Game Pass though, I'm just going to buy Forza. So it did kind of result in sales. I mean, that was something that re-entered the charts that people hadn't played. I'm not sure about whether it would take the wind out of the sails of, in terms of, would it have had that many sales without Game Pass? Potentially not. But then again, the flip side is, if people weren't interested enough to buy it, they might not have spent 45 quid, but they might have spent the £1 in the Game Pass.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the benefit, because they had the 1 month, 3 months for £1 special going on at the time when it hit the stores. And for me, that's a marketing, that's genius. But how well would that translate to how much you spent developing that game compared to how many people have bought it? It's always do you want to charge £40 for something and have 30 people buy it, or would you like to charge £1 and have 1,000 people potentially buy it?
I wonder how many times people have gone, I'll stick my quid on, and then forgotten that in 3 months' time it's going to hit them with £7, £8 quid. Boom,
that's
boom,
what they want.
I mean, I paid my quid over Christmas, because when I bought Caloran in Fortnite, I had to use that Xbox voucher that Danielle had. But I needed an Xbox Live, it expired, so I thought, okay, well, I can just buy the Game Pass, which will give me Xbox Live and everything else for 3 months for £1 rather than spending 40 quid. So I just opened that up. I mean, I've not played it. I'm there thinking, do you know what, I might try Forza and do that Battle Royale. What was it called? It was the Eliminator or something like that.
It's such a sick name.
So I thought I might try that, or I might try Gears. I've done none. I've played Season Pass for.
Well, I still need to borrow the Xbox One here to try Games Pass, because there's loads on there that I haven't tried. But to be fair, I know I give shit to PlayStation now, but they've still got things like Oblivion. They've still got Morrowind, games that I absolutely adored. I mean, you know as well as I do, I play a lot of shit. Like, I'll give everything a try once, but Oblivion is one of my all-time favourite games. It's part of the Elder Scrolls series, obviously, for those of you that aren't aware of that.
Bibby has Elder Scrolls on every format twice. Facts.
I said I Skyrim about 1,000,001 times. But
not Elder Scrolls. Is it the same thing? I don't know.
Elder Scrolls is like the umbrella and everything else, so like Morrowind's part of the Elder Scrolls. Oblivion,
I knew that.
Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls Online is everything. But yeah, it's amazing. Like if you, we won't go into it because I could be here for a million and 1 hours talking about it. But yeah,
just want to jump in and say morning to Aimbot Christian, or evening.
Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, have you been doing the curls? I mean, we've got past the crunches. I mean, I want sprints and squats and stuff now. I mean, do you know what are those burpees? Give me some burpees.
Burpees.
Yes. Same. Never play AAA. Never play indies. AAA or nothing for me. I mean, I have played some, and I've mentioned it a few times. There's things like I play an occasional indie title. Oh, that's it. We've lost Bibby. That's it.
Hi.
Oh.
Hello,
Easy, Tiger. There has been a few that kind of catch me off guard, and I think, okay, I really enjoyed that. But generally speaking, yeah, not so much. But yeah, the point I was going to go back to for Xbox is, okay, they aren't hitting these massive exclusives at launch. They're not going to launch with anything that kind of goes, boom, this should be a Series X game, which then makes me think, are you really going to sell your Series X consoles? Obviously.
What have they got in development then?
But that there has to be stuff. It's just, why would you, as a gamer, go out and buy the Series X if you can play it on your Xbox One X that you just bought? Well, I had an Xbox One, then I got an S, and you know, an Xbox One X came out, so I sold my S to my cousin, bought myself an Xbox One X. And why am I going to buy an Xbox Series X when I've just got the Xbox One X 4K enhanced?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I mean, yes, you're likely to probably get more solid 60 FPS gameplay or stuff like that, but there's not really any significant advantage. The advantage, though, that they do have is, when I was talking about the for the players kind of element, I mean, with it, they're obviously, for the players is PlayStation's motto, but Xbox definitely are looking after that, because if you look at Matt Booty. So Matt Booty says, as our content comes out over the next year, 2 years, all of our games, sort of like PC, will play up and down that family of devices. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and then, that they feel that they've made a good investment and that we're committed to them with content, which is amazing, because I've never really felt it, because I always jump with the generation.
Yeah.
I usually fairly early on into it go, but I know people like relatives. Usually it's either a parent or an uncle or someone like that they just suddenly can't play any of the new games. It's not, oh well, I've got a PS3. I'm not really ready for a PS4. It's like, PS5's coming out this year, mate. What are you on about?
It's a situation that my granddad's in at the moment. Like, he didn't play in his 360 for at least 2 years because he didn't want to take it abroad with him. But this Christmas, I went out and bought him all the Call of Duties, all the Medal of Honors for the Xbox 360, and now he's very nearly finished them. Christmas has nearly been over a month, and he's nearly gone through them again. So I think this year he either wants to get a PS4 to go back and play them all, or he's going to get a PS5 to be able to. I mean, he's 74 years old. He's got nothing else to spend his money on anymore. So he's going out and buying this shit. But yeah, it's an interesting one, because again, I haven't got an Xbox One, so I've missed out on every game that's been out on there that hasn't been on the PS4. Am I going to go and get an Xbox One? I love the backwards compatibility is amazing. Like, when the PS5 comes out, if I'm able to play 4, 3, 2, and 1, I'm set for life. Like, I just might as well just get rid of my PS4. Don't need it anymore. All this can play everything.
It's interesting that, because there was a news article. I can't remember if we covered it or not, or whether I just read it, but it was kind of hinted at, or it might have actually been said by a PlayStation marketing person, that the PlayStation will be fully backwards compatible. Yeah. And then when people have been speaking about it since, it's kind of gone quiet, because people have asked. We're hearing rumours that it's a bit too expensive to have five be able to play 4, 3, 2, and 1. Is that really the case? And then the wording in the more recent press releases kind of loosens that up a little. So
I think that if it was fully compatible, like, I'm not expecting it to, if I'm being perfectly honest, but if it was, I think the console will have to be more expensive, because you're getting. The PS4 would be worthless. Like, you'd be able to pick. You should be able to go into game and pick one up for 100 quid, or in their case 160 quid, because they're like inflating prices. But if you was to buy it from somewhere else, it might only be 100 quid, because what's the point when you can buy a PS5 for 400 quid and be able to play every generation?
It's amazing though. You think, like, to be in their shoes. Okay, we've sold 106 million units. we're really not gonna sell any more PS4s. I mean, we will sell maybe another million. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money. It clearly is, but we might sell another million over the console's life or whatever. Obviously, they'll still sell some before then because the PS5's not out. But when the PS5 comes out, that will kind of cut it off. So they might then just go, okay, do you know what? We sold everything. Literally, I mean, the chances of us selling any more PS4s now, yeah, we will sell some, but the amount of money that we'd get from selling PS4 5s instead of 4s is better. So they are quite unique in the fact that they've sold so many. They can go, okay, well, let's just stop.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's make the PS5 play PS4 games, and then that's it. Some people will still buy the PS4s because you'll get the granddads who want to play through the last gen, and if they're going, okay, PS5s are 400 quid, but PS4. I mean, I can get 7 years worth of gameplay out of that for 100 quid, but ding!
Well, again, this topic can kind of go on forever, but if they start putting stuff onto PlayStation now, say for instance, Call of Duty Black Ops 5 comes out in 2 years' time, they eventually put that onto PlayStation now, am I able to play that on PS4? Because is PlayStation now just going to be capped as you can only play that on that, you can only play that on that? Like the Xbox Games Pass now, you're able to play some games on PC because they've been optimised to be able to play on PC, but when it makes the leap to the Series X, again, are they going to cap games? So we're going to include it on Games Pass now, but people who are playing on Xbox One, the graphics might be too demanding, your console can't output the resolution or whatever it could be, whatever caveats they put on it. Are they going to be able to play it on that? Is it going to split Games Pass in half so you can only play certain things? I don't know. It's gonna be a long year because there's going to be a lot more questions. When more specs, we get to see the console, we get to see it in action, and then new journalists will ask questions that me and you could never even think about. But they've had so much time in the industry and played through all these consoles. They've already got an idea of what questions they want to ask to the developers of the consoles. These are the questions that need to be asked, really, because if you're paying £8 and they're paying £8, but there's a barricade somewhere that you can't play the same games.
I imagine there's got to be no block there. From everything they've said and everything they've done, and they're talking about giving value up and down the generations and so on, there has to be no block, in my opinion.
I've had an idea.
Shoes for pigeons!
I've had an idea. If the game was purposely made for the Series X and it was graphically demanding, blah, 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 do what Google Stadia have done, obviously better because let's not get into that, but make it so that you have to stream the games rather than download it and play it natively.
See, speaking of Stadia, was kind of thinking, is this a Stadia moment for the Xbox marketing campaign? I mean, Xbox's marketing campaign, obviously we're still early. We've not even touched it. We've not seen a physical one apart from in the videos and stuff, and some of them might not have been there as well. So we've not seen the Xbox at this point, but we're like, granted, it's not a TV conference like when they didn't mention that everything was digital rights management, so there was DRM over everything. You couldn't share games, you couldn't resell games, there was none of that. Your console always had to be on. I mean, we're all happy with that stuff now, but 7 years ago that was scary stuff. The fact that they were talking about making it your home entertainment device, and all about TV and watching Skype whilst watching TV and also playing games. People are like, I just want to play my games, stop being shit. That derailed their marketing campaign is probably a big reason for the PS4 selling 106 million and Xbox probably being 50, 60, 70 million. Obviously, they don't share their figures. I wonder why. But this, now you're starting to, with any campaign, Stadia sounded wonderful, but then when it gets to the point where they have to start releasing information, you think,
yeah, exactly.
And Xbox is now wonderful. Now we've seen it, there's flashing lights and stuff, and it's, you can light down and stand it up, oh my god! Okay, but what cool games has it got that are just, you can only play that? There isn't any. What? Excuse me?
That's it. We're going to start to get to crunch time now, like you say, We've said this since the inception of this podcast, the fact that Stadia has the best idea of them all. You've got a controller, you've got a dongle, you can play games, don't download them, just stream them, we'll ding the server, you'll get the best quality picture there can be for a price. It looks like the direction that Xbox may go down because they want people to be able to play Games Pass. I haven't got a Games Pass, but I love the thought of it. It's definitely the best bang for buck that we've had this year, or in gaming ever, I think. cautious of the direction that it's going to go in when the new console comes out, because I do see there's going to be massive discrepancies between what one console is being able to play and what the other is. There is emulators for PC now that are still trying to emulate games from 20 years ago that are struggling to do so. With the PCs that are out in the wild now, like mine's a powerful PC, yours is a powerful PC, you may still not be able to play certain Mega Drive games, games from the GameCube, games from the Wii, games that now would not be physically demanding on your console, but your PC still can't play them.
Which ties into a comment that says, I don't know about these generations, but the old Ataris and Segas had to pretty much have the processors from the older systems to play the previous gen's games, which got expensive.
That's exactly what I said before.
It's the infrastructure as opposed to not necessarily the power, because the power that was in an old Atari or something like that, or an old SNES or Mega Drive kind of thing, you've got more power than that in this Stream Deck kind of thing. There's more, probably not a Stream Deck, but it's not necessarily having access to the power, because we've got RTX 2080 Ti's or whatever like that. You can smash it with that. It's just having that processor that reads those ones and zeros in the right order.
Exactly,
in the same way.
Which is what I was saying before about the PlayStation. Why would you want to buy a PlayStation 4 for £200 brand new when you could buy a PlayStation 5 for £400 brand new and have access to every single console game that was ever available for the PlayStations? For me, that doesn't make sense, which I'm thinking, if it is, because we made assumption, I've still got them upstairs on my desk, about what the price points for each of these consoles when they come out, and I said £379 for the PlayStation, and I think it's going to be about the same for the Xbox as well.
Did I say 500?
You said 479. There was £100 between mine and yours. Well, I've got them upstairs anyway, but it seems incredibly cheap to be able to play all of those. If there was to be able to play all the consoles, whack £200 on there. I would happily pay £600 to be able to play everywhere. People who watch any of my streams from home will know how many games I've got slitted around that room. I've got next to me, just like I stream like this, next to me here, I've got 250 physical games. I have a PlayStation 1, 2, I don't have any free, and then Xbox 360 games. If I could play all of those natively on either of those two consoles, then why would I need from 360, Xbox One, PS4, PS3, or PS2, or PS1? Because I've got them all sat at home. Why would I need any of those? It makes no sense. Because I'm a collector, mate. That's what I do.
I mean, you're still going to have 250 games sat next to you, whether you can play them all or not, just because it's good to look at. Well, just want to shout out to Mandalore, the Ultimate 223. Thank you very much for the follow. I saw that come through a couple of minutes ago, but Bibby was in full swing then, so I wanted to leave him in.
I wasn't in shouty mode like I was last week, but yeah, we've got a lot to unpack this year. I think this is probably it is going to be the most exciting year that we're going to have in video games.
I was pointing at my screen then because I saw a glitch on that screen, and I have obviously our dashboard on the laptop in front of me, so whenever that glitches I look there and I keep seeing it, so there was a big grey glitch then. So apologies if you are seeing these dodgy glitches.
I'm going to reload it in a sec when we get onto this story.
We'll use that as a little bit to jump ahead. Obviously, to summarise for those that may have been late in, obviously Microsoft have confirmed there will be no console-specific launches alongside the Series X, so you won't get the likes of having the first Gears of War game exclusively to the Xbox 360, not on the Xbox that was on it previously. You won't get that sort of release. You will get a Halo game that does play on both formats, and that's kind of what they're going. Their angle is they want to make it so that there's value in the ecosystem, which is amazing from a user perspective, but from Xbox's perspective, you can't see that's got to weaken your sales potential. But yeah, that is that. Let's move on to our next story then, as I bring this up on screen for you. This is written by Wesley Yin-Poole, deputy editor of Eurogamer, and he says Cyberpunk 2077 PS1 demake takes the old school GTA route. And this video, I'll just make sure there's no audio in. Nice. Okay, we'll leave that playing on the screen as I read through the article. This is actually something that's been made by someone that we've mentioned a few times here on Ice Cream Uploads. So Bear Parker, or Bear Scott, or Belly Regal, as his YouTube channel is titled, has made this. Let me run through the article before I start to waffle on though. So Cyberpunk 2077 PS1 demake takes the old school GTA route, and it was made in dreams. Cyberpunk 2077 is probably the most anticipated video game in the world right now, and so it seems only right it should have a PS1 demake already. Cyberpunk 1997 is a fun reimagining of CD Projekt's upcoming behemoth by prolific demaker Barely Regal, and it was made in Media Molecule's PlayStation 4 creation game, Dreams. So Barely Regal's Dreams creation apes Cyberpunk 2077's official gameplay video from August 2018 by starting off in the player character's apartment. The first-person section lets you move about the room, checking out some appliances and pick up a gun. We then move into the area just outside the apartment, still in first person, and with some NPCs and vendors milling about. And then the best bit, the player moves to the open-world night city, which of course switches to an old-school GTA gameplay style, top-down driving experience. It looks like fun. I had to double take then because I just looked over at you and I thought someone stood behind you. It's the naked snake statue over your shoulder.
Can you go to our dashboard on there, because this is frozen before I even managed to do anything and I can't click on anything.
It's still moving around on the dashboard.
Alright, cool. I don't know if I haven't been able to click on anything because it's all locked up.
Let's just
Probably why it's glitching.
Let's just leave it and hope for the best. I'll continue reading the article then. And then, okay, I'll read that bit again then. And then the best bit, the player moves to the open world night city, and if you're watching the video on screen right now, that'll come along in just a second, which of course switches to an old school GTA gameplay style top-down driving experience. It looks like fun! I quite like the symmetry of Cyberpunk's demake, taking inspiration from old school GTA when Cyberpunk 2077 has clearly played a lot of the latest GTA games. As an aside, you can't play Cyberpunk 1997 in Dreams yet. Barely Regal said they haven't put it in public yet because I don't want to release it until I'm really happy with the result. Wouldn't want players having a mediocre experience. Fair enough. 1997, what a year. Bill Clinton was sworn in for a second term as President of the United States. Channel 5 began broadcasting and Tony Blair became the Prime Minister in the landslide general election victory for Labour. And then Titanic came out. What an end to an article. So this bit here on the video is just about to go down the staircase / escalator to the outside world. You see the outside rendering. Now, a loading screen. And now... Good shot, kid. You got him. For those of you that think I'm having some sort of seizure, that was the theme tune from the original Grand Theft Auto on the PS1. So yeah. How cool does this look?
I can't wait to play this. It looks awesome. I mean, I can't wait to play the original Cyberpunk, but this is giving me all sorts of feels and vibes.
Yeah.
Huge nostalgia.
That is badass.
I mean, I definitely wouldn't be doing this. There is no way that I'm driving this slow and letting people cross the zebra crossing.
Oh,
Has just run someone over there?
No, it was a bit of like one of those. There was three of them. There's two on the pavement and one on the road. It looked like some sort of box kind of thing. So let's bring it back in the room.
If it works, please work. No.
It doesn't work. Okay, let's.
I can't click on anything up there.
Stay on this news article for the rest of time. So yes, as you can see there, the picture in the middle, that is the channel icon from Barely Regal or Bear Parker or Bear Scott on Twitter. So yeah, that looks pretty sick though, to be fair. I mean, Bear has done quite a few similar things. He's done. We spoke about his Shadow Moses builds. In the past, we're being hacked again, says Next Gen Renegade. Oh no!
Not again.
Get out of here!
Anarchy's back.
The anarchist.
Oh, the anarchist.
You can anarchist my ass and get out of here. We have a text box on the screen. We might be able to actually bring you back into the studio with us. If not, we'll just watch this article for the rest of time. But yeah, anyway, Bear Parker has done some previous builds. Obviously, he's worked in... if you've been on the previous podcast, you will have heard us talking about his builds in Lego Worlds. Oh, let's bring it back in. Yay! It works!
Lovely stuff.
Well done, babe. G to the G, although
it's still lagging.
We still had a bit of a glitch on that bit, yeah. Do you know what? Let's go to front cam. That's not glitching. And we get to see Bib stroll back into the studio. Come on, we want some, like...
Get my man walking.
So yes, Bear Parker, I've said this 3 times and stopped halfway through. He's made games in Lego Worlds and in Minecraft and Dreams is his new playground. Obviously, there's a lot more potential for what you can build in Dreams. He's previously showed a Drive inspired, so Drive the movie, a game inspired by Drive, and it was kind of like atmospheric. You're in a car at night, you've got street lights coming past, you've got...
Was that in Dreams as well?
Yeah, that was in Dreams as well, yeah. and now putting his time into recreating the Cyberpunk video. I mean, forget the quality of what he's done. I mean, that's an absolute genius move in terms of marketing. That video came out last year, so he's clearly been putting the time in, working on it behind the scenes, because there's a lot.
Well, he's
there.
clearly trusted with the game, isn't it? It's clearly because it's not, this game isn't accessible to us now, is it?
It was in early access though, so he must have had access to it. Well, he has had access to it in early access because he's done it previously. Obviously, YouTube content creator, and he's worked in marketing for Xbox and things in the past. So yeah, he's probably got enough contact with the guys at Media Molecule for them to sort him out. But yes, the point being, I love the fact that he's got. It looks like he's sat in Sylvester Stallone's apartment in Demolition Man. He's faithfully recreated the whole apartment off of the Cyberpunk 2077 video from last year, but making something look like something is one thing. The thing that he's clearly getting better at dreams, because I remember watching a video, or it might have been a thread, and I think it was a video where he was talking through his Metal Gear Solid Shadow Moses remake, and essentially you start out with like a Minecrafty dude kind of thing, and then he was sculpting the player and then importing like different graphics and stuff, so that he eventually molded it so it looked exactly like Snake. So he's clearly learned a lot in doing that, and in doing that and having the functional bits to it. The fact that he was walking around his apartment and it was like walk up to the microwave and a button popped up going use, and walking over to a cupboard and it was used. So there's functional bits there. Whether they actually do anything or not, whether they do or not, kind of irrelevant. The fact that he's made it show that in the trailer is really cool, and the fact that you can then go to a door and then there's a gun spinning around inside that you can pick up, and then you get the Doom first person stuff. A lot of thought, effort, and time is going.
I wonder what happens when you get out the car and go back into first person.
I hope not. What I want is like that, and then feet going like that, like it used to do on GTA kind of thing. You just see the toes flapping out from underneath it. One at the front, one at the back, one at the front, one at the back.
But maybe then when you get into the open world, it is like that. But when you go inside a building, it goes to first person, because it'll be a lot less to render out and create it, rather than being first person in the open world.
I imagine there'll be a very, very short amount of first person like buildings and stuff that you can access, because I think that was that would have been the issue with the GTA, is every time you go in a building you've got to do a 3D render of a room kind of thing, whereas if you do it open world, there was some 3D rendering on that you wouldn't have had on GTA. Obviously you drove past a tree would stay like a tree and you drive past it and it'd just move past you, whereas he had palm trees that you could see like from different perspectives.
But there's games like that, like oh my god, what was it called? Something Hawaii, Shakedown Hawaii or something like that. Oh god.
Shaq Fu. No, that's not what I wanted. Shakedown Hawaii video game.
I think it was called.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the one. Yeah. So you've got games that have taken the original Grand Theft Auto and then made it into a 3D-ish 16-bit. I think it's 16 or 32-bit world.
Yeah. The thing with that though, looking at Shakedown Hawaii's graphics, it looks as if you're looking at, say, like a SNES or a Mega Drive sort of game, but you know that if you drive past that house, it's going to stay as a stationary thing. Whereas looking at on Barely Regal's video, you could see the palm tree. As you were on the left of it, you could see it kind of like from that perspective. But then as you got underneath it, you could see it from the top, and then as you went past it, you could see it from the other side as well, which is really cool.
This game, I played this one. I had this on my Vita.
What, Shakedown Hawaii?
No, this is the prequel to it, which is Retro City Rampage. Phenomenal game. If you do like the old Grand Theft Autos and things like that, get this game and then play I haven't played Shakedown Hawaii yet. I didn't necessarily finish this one. I got quite far into it on my Vita, but it's amazing. It's such a good game. But yeah, it's heavily inspired by the original Grand Theft Auto series.
I mean, not interested in the slightest unless you hear the words "Kill Frenzy."
But they do have things like that inside it.
Death, chaos.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's these. I mean, Shakedown Hawaii looks a million times better, obviously because it was the 16-bit. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Takedown Retro City Rampage, I think, was 8-bit, and then they moved to Shakedown Hawaii, which is 16-bit. So obviously, it's a bit more. It looks a bit more. It's got a bit more about it.
I want a Nintendo 64-esque version on the next one if we're going that sort of way. Keep it going. But anyway, let's move ahead. So that's Cyberpunk 1997 remake. It's not out yet. It will be available in Dreams when Barely Regal is happy with it. But if you want to see any more, check out Barely Regal on YouTube. Obviously, we will put links to that in the show notes. Do you know what? Actually, whilst I'm here, if you want to see the video for yourself with the audio, the video is really good. Get out of here. I don't want all that extra tracking link stuff. Boom. There we go. The video is really good if you're watching it with the audio. Obviously, we didn't have the audio on because we were talking over the top of it. But if you want to watch the video, it's really good because Barely Regal explains the reasoning for things and how things work. So there you go. Just drop the link in the chat if you want to check it out yourself. It will be in the show notes if you are listening to this on Spotify's and SoundClouds and so on. Feel free to check the notes and you can see there. Old school games where it looked like the landscape was always looking at you. Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened when he was playing first person, wasn't it? Because no matter what angle he looked at the guy behind the vendor, it always moved towards him.
Yeah, he used to, like there was a bottle, like a beer bottle within that as well, like almost like a Heineken bottle on the floor or a Budweiser bottle, and like you went around it and the bottle kind of was like
moved with you. Yeah.
Nope. This is I only have one side. So yes. Let's move ahead. I'm just closing down all my tabs. I have multiple tabs open now, and on to our next bit of news. This is another VG247 article, this time written by Emily Gera, as she says, Nintendo has filed a new trademark application for Mario and Luigi series. So Mario and Luigi could be making a return. As spotted by Let's Go Digital, Nintendo of America has filed a new trademark application for Mario and Luigi in South America. Let's Go Digital. One thing I do want to say is they're not afraid of getting their branding on an asset, are they?
I was just thinking that, like, this... It's so weird. Why are you putting your watermark on something else?
Make it look like it's part of they did it with the PS5, like those pizza warmer things. They were the ones that did the mock-up, and they put the Let's Go Digital logo on the front, and it's like, huh?
It's very
so
odd.
These guys, no wonder they know about it. They made it. Oh, I get it now. Anyway, so as spotted by Let's Go Digital, Nintendo of America has filed a new trademark application for Mario and Luigi in South America. According to the applicant's description, the Mario and Luigi trademark will be related to computer game cartridges, game memory cards, computer game software, video game memory cards, interactive entertainment software to play video games, and covers for mobile phones. Of course, it's possible Nintendo is just trying to keep a tight grip on its own IP, but the timing of things is of interest. Mario and Luigi's original developer, Alpha Dream, filed for bankruptcy late last year following poor sales of its 3DS release, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, and Bowser Jr.'s Journey. The RPG series had been developed by Alpha Dream for handheld... I've got your...
Words.
The RPG series had been developed by Alpha Dream for handheld platforms since 2003, but with a new trademark filed, it seems Nintendo may not be done with the franchise after all. So that kind of touches on it then. The Mario and Luigi games, they were... Was it 3DS? Oh, it does actually say it there. Following poor sales of a 3DS release, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser's Jr.'s Journey. So those were not Super Mario games, they were Mario and Luigi games, and they were portable versions of games created by Alpha Dream. They had, I'd probably say, cult following. I never played them ever. Didn't even touch them. Did you play? Well, obviously, Big plays every single game that's ever existed.
It's an RPG. It's completely different from a normal Super Mario where you just side scroll and things like that. It was like turn-based action. It was decent. I can understand why it didn't hit the mark with everybody because it's not Super Mario. Do you know what I mean? It's not. It's like if you had a Tony Hawk's game and he was snowboarding rather than skateboarding. You can't just put them characters in and then expect people to be able to follow blindly and accept it. But yeah, it was good. What it's going to come out on, I don't know. I think any kind of Mario game that you're going to put on the Switch now is probably going to sell.
Yeah, I think... I mean, it could just be a case of we'll probably see these kind of news articles all the time because it's just one of those things. People that are in the news world, let's just keep our eye on patent offices and things like that, because sometimes you will get news articles, sometimes you'll just get, Capcom have just done the Dino Crisis patent so they can keep it just in case they want to do something in 15 years' time. It might just be one of those things. It could be a case of, actually, do you know what? Let's just smash ahead with it. I think for this right now, if Alpha Dream were working on a Mario and Luigi game, you'd have to believe that Nintendo would be paying for that, and it would subsidize their development process, and they would get that game out before they went bust. If they brought the game out and it didn't do very well, then they'd file for bankruptcy. It seems, unless they're really bad at money management, if they've just got a contract to develop the game for Nintendo, you'd think that even if they said, okay, we're going to default on this, can we get 50% of our whatever the conversations were, you'd have to believe that Nintendo have there is nothing in production, and Nintendo have gone, okay, well, we've got no reason to save you, so
it seems bonkers that this is the next, it could potentially be the next Mario game on the Switch, considering how well Odyssey sold. Why have they not made a second one of those? Why have they not put anything more as a DLC into the game? It was, I don't know, I actually don't know the best-selling Switch game. It must be Legend of Zelda.
I'm fairly sure it is.
Because one, it was a bundle game, and two, it's a Zelda game on a Nintendo platform, so it has to be up there. But if Mario Odyssey isn't second, then I'll be surprised. But this, I can't see this being the next Mario game for them, especially with it being Mario and Luigi. If the sales of the last one didn't do so well, it seems like a bit of a gamble to bring this out.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 19 million copies.
Okay.
Then Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, 15.7. Super Mario Odyssey, 15.3. And Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 14.5. So
I say that between the top three, between second, third, and fourth, there isn't much in there. But Mario Kart 8, that yeah, okay, that's.
I mean, that was a bundled title, and Mario Kart is kind of a universal.
Yeah,
title
anyone can play Mario Kart.
And to be fair, out of the top four, that's the one I have as well.
So yeah, I mean, it surprises me. I mean, Mario Odyssey there is fourth. It surprises me they haven't done anything else with it, considering how well it did, how well it's streamed. A lot of people were streaming it. A lot of people talk about it socially. They haven't done anything else with it, barring it was some stupid was it like Luigi's balloons or some shit like that they added to it? That was the only free update. But yeah, they've not cashed in on it.
So when Luigi's got the balloons, he goes, "Let's blow!"
I think he just had to try and find him. I don't know. I think Luke actually played through that part, because I know he streamed Mario Odyssey. I'm sure he finished it.
The thing you mentioned there, though, is I can't imagine Mario and Luigi being the next Mario game on the Switch. With Nintendo, anything is possible.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the company that's had...
Have you still got the sales on there? Where did Mario Maker... Where's that? Mario Party 7th.
Mario Maker 10th. Well, Mario Maker 2 10th.
Oh, even Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe outsold it. Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, interesting. But... Yeah,
that's a port.
The thing with Nintendo is this is the company that has, fair enough, the Pokemon company owns Pokemon, but obviously Nintendo has a huge controlling part in that. The fact that this company hasn't pushed the Pokemon company into making a third-person over-the-shoulder Pokemon RPG 30 years later or whatever the hell it is.
That's a good point.
Anything is possible. The amount of daft stuff that they come out with. They're like, what was it? That Pokemon Dungeon or whatever it was called. I don't know. It's probably not Dungeon.
Pokemon Quest.
The thing that was in the last week's Pokemon Direct, there was an old school Pokemon game, where you go around with teams of Pokemon or something.
Yeah, I think it was Mystery Dungeon.
Mystery Dungeon. That's it. Yeah. The fact that is coming out as a remake before they even contemplate looking at a third-person RPG, real-worldy kind of thing is just.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? I mean, if third parties can go and do that, where it's got an active live player base, again, I don't understand why they're doing it, but who knows? It's Nintendo, and they can do whatever they want. I mean, they're doing well. They're winning. I say they're winning against themselves, but Nintendo does Nintendo once. They'll see everything else that everybody else is doing. They just don't give a shit. They'll just do whatever they feel is best for them. Which you've got to appreciate that.
I mean, they smashed it with a 3DS, and they're smashing it again with a Switch now. Yeah. So what the fuck do we know?
Exactly.
If you give the people what they want, then they're not going to come back for anything in the future, I suppose.
Well, last four consoles: the Wii, 3DS, and the Switch. There's only the Wii U that failed, really.
The Wii who? One thing I want to do show up is this. Because it's mentioned by Fatman Dave in the chat, the INPI logo. He thought it was the old school Power Rangers Lightning Bolt logo for a second there, which I can see it. I can see it. If you want to know what the Power Rangers logo looks like, then just Google it. If you listen to the audio services, then Google the INPI Argentina logo as well, and then make your own comparison. As we jump ahead to, I believe, our final article of the day. And do you know what? I'm going to let you have this one, babe.
Okay, can you get rid of my screen, please?
No,
Okay.
no, I'm going to keep it there.
Lovely stuff.
Okay. quick. Oh, too slow.
That was extremely
No,
quick.
super slow.
Not fast enough. Okay, so we haven't had our fill of Resident Evil this week because it's only
Ding,
Monday.
ding,
So
ding, ding, ding,
there we go.
ding.
Strap yourselves in, guys. It's a very brief one, to be fair. This is on Destructoid and it's been written by Brett. Is this why you let me have it? Brett Makedonski? I'm taking that. Also,
It's called Brett Makedonski.
Makedonski. Brett Makedonski. There you go. You just said it for me. I'll get rid of the G.
No,
Makedonski. I'll drop the G.
I'm sorry, Brett. I'm taking the piss out your name. I was just trying to make baby say
It's not the
stuff.
first time I take a piss out people's names. I apologize. Range Rover Fringe or whatever you were called. Also,
G Barnett.
G Barnett, that was it.
Range Rover Fringe.
So again, we'll start again. Destructoid, Brett Makedonski. Capcom says nothing will stop Resident Evil 3 from launching in April. Also, some neat details about the remake. Resident Evil 3 Remake has an outrageously short marketing cycle. Announced less than a month ago, it's already releasing in early April, and that's not changing come hella high water or a giant scary ass nemesis. In an interview with Famitsu, as reported by IGN, Capcom shows great confidence that Resident Evil 3 is making its April 3 launch date. Producer Peter Fabiano, Masachi Kawata said there will be no delays, adding that the game is approximately 90% done at this point.
Peter Fabiano and who?
Peter Fabiano and Masachika Kawata. There we go, got there eventually. In a separate interview with PlayStation Magazine UK, Capcom revealed a few more details about the remake. Mercenaries mode, which was a guns blazing race against the clock minigame unlocked by beating the campaign, will not return. Also omitted are the live action choices during cutscenes that will influence later events. However, there's confirmation that Carlos will be playable. There's also the interesting note that Nemesis was seemingly motion captured, as Capcom created its real life to be able to be scanned via photogrammetry.
Yes.
Words.
I've even heard of that word, but photogrammetry.
They've definitely made that. Oh my god! To be fair though, that looks dynamite underneath. Changes were expected to be given that Capcom considers this sort of remake and a remix at the same time. We'll see everything that new and different on April 3rd. That sounds pretty firm. That screenshot looks dynamite. So if that's what photogrammetry looks like...
Photogrammetry.
Then I am down.
Yeah, well, my favourite thing is video scrimmetry and scrometry.
That doesn't seem like a real word. That just makes it sound like they've made that up.
Photogrammetry. I don't know. Well, basically, they've created Nemesis in real life and motion captured it. So is that... I'm trying to figure out how that works. Have they got a guy or a girl?
Some absolute beast with the dots on them.
But the fact that they've said, there's also interesting to note that Nemesis was seemingly motion captured as Capcom created it in real life.
Well, they did that for Leon and Claire in the second one.
But they were based on people though, whereas Nemesis is like some big. So
yeah,
did they put like a prosthetic suit on someone and then have him like, all right lads, Nemesis?
To be fair though, I've shown you what it looks like, what Nemesis looked like in the Resident Evil films that got made like in 2004, and that was, for me, it looks like the best version of Nemesis there has ever been, regardless of the CGI cutscenes that was in the game originally. The film itself, it looks amazing, but I don't particularly like the model that they've used in this remake. I think it looks a bit daft. But yeah, I imagine they've just stuck him in a suit, and then potentially done. I have no idea. I don't know how these things work. But yeah, it's being part of the Resident Evil community and seeing people losing their shit over Mercenaries not being there. We've lost Mercenaries, which is a great mode, but we're getting a brand new Resident Evil Resistance bundled in with it.
See, it's clearly one of those like super fan modes, because I mean, not played all the Resident Evils. Shock Horror Graham hasn't played loads of games, but I've never even heard of Mercenaries mode. So it's one of those things that the super fans play after playing the game mode, but nobody really cares about. You only care about it if you were one of the people that cares about it. So
it's a good. I mean, it is a good mode, but I'd much rather have something fresh, and that's coming from an absolute super fan of Resident Evil itself. I don't want to say it's weird that they've got rid of the live action choices, because for anyone that watched my Resident Evil 3 stream, we played through the entirety of the game. And I was playing on hard mode, and then if you was to confront Nemesis and kill him, he drops parts for you to like upgrade your pistol, so you'll have the best pistol in the game. He'll drop Desert Eagle parts so that you'll get one of the best guns in the game, and then he'll drop your attachments for your shotgun to make it more powerful and things like that. That was only in hard mode and if you faced him. So every time he'd burst through a window, you'd have these live action moments where it'll flash up on the screen, fight him or run, some things like that.
So you could fight. When you say kill him, do you mean just like defeat him?
Yeah, so it'd drop on the floor, and then it'd drop an item. You come back later on, he won't be on the floor because he'd be chasing you down somewhere else. So there'd be different stages to him. It'd be the same character, like he wouldn't evolve until obviously close towards the end. Spoilers if you've not played Resident Evil from nearly 20 years ago.
God damn it!
But yeah, it chased you around. So it's weird that it seems like a Mr. X thing where you can just keep on shooting him until he drops to the floor, run off, and then he'll chase you down again. I'm guessing that's what they're going to be doing with it.
I like the fact that those interactive bits, they were clearly a big bit then, but storytelling in video games has evolved, as have the functions, and the functions that we use to interact with a video game, be it combat controls, be it camera controls, be it the way the narrative works and stuff on screen. So I like the fact that they've gone, okay, do you know what, these interactive moments were quite cool back then, but we want to tell a story. So rather than having these bits where do you or don't you, we think we can have the most impact by defining what your story will be when it comes to making those critical moments. So rather than having you to choose whether to run or fight, you will have to fight at certain times and you will run at certain times, and we're deciding that so we can decide what weapons you've got so you can play and feel the story how we want. I like the fact that they've gone, do you know what, it's going to piss some people off, but this is a remake in a modern world, and we know the best way to tell this story is to give you...
Well, I was going to say, don't forget that Mr. X didn't appear half as much in the original Resident Evil 2 game. I mean, he only appeared in Claire's. If you used to play Leon and then Claire, he only first appeared in Claire's. He didn't even appear in Leon's. So
if you played it the other way around,
I don't think I ever played it the other way around. It was always, again, this is the superfan thing.
Yeah,
so Leon A, Claire B, Claire B, Leon A.
I'm aware of that sort of canon kind of thing, and that's considered the story,
the way to play it. So which is exactly what I did for the remake 2 now. So I started with Leon A, Claire B, Leon A. If I started Claire B, Leon A, he may only appear in Leon's. But yeah, you didn't come up against Mr. X half as much as you did in the remake. But that was the beauty of it. You could walk into a door, you could walk into a room, and you could hear his footsteps above you, and then you think, shit, I need to backtrack and go the opposite way, or at least try and fight him. It was entirely your decision. I'm trying to think now. Was there an instance where I absolutely had to fight him that wasn't the last part of the game? I'm fairly certain you could just run in most cases. You didn't necessarily have to fight him because he didn't do anything. He didn't drop anything. He just always appeared around. He was just always circling.
I think that was pretty harsh. You've got some, and it's quite sizes really. You've got just a bigger English bloke chilling around in his Tally ho, Ben, I'm looking for all the police officers. There don't appear to be any around this police, and you're there like pow 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 pow.
Well, the prospect of coming up against Nemesis is a lot more terrifying than Mr. X because he's got a rocket launcher, so he could burst through a wall. Because that's something that Mr. X I don't think did. I know at the very beginning of the game where you first meet him, he lifted up the helicopter that crashed into the building, but I don't think he crashed through any walls. I know he comes through doors, but Nemesis crashes through windows, doors, fucking walls. It didn't matter. So
well, the AI that Mr. X Mr. X ran on in the remakes, apparently Nemesis is based on that, but more advanced.
Yeah, more aggressive, which doesn't surprise me because he's looking for STARS members. Like, he's not asked about anything else. I don't think the Nemesis itself kills civilians or anyone else but STARS members.
So what's the reasoning for that?
Because it was programmed to kill STARS members. It was programmed by Wesker and Umbrella to come after STARS members. Because Wesker was part of STARS. He was a double agent.
So he's basically just Jax from the early 2000s on. why you want to go get stars in your eyes? That's all he's looking at.
Exactly, yeah. So
it doesn't play that when he bursts through the first wall.
So yeah, he just wants to chase after Jill and go after any other stars members that are knocking about. But yeah, if there was a game that I was looking forward to more than Resident Evil 2, obviously it's going to be this. I do think this is probably going to be up there with Dreams as probably my game of the year. Last of Us this year is going to be phenomenal.
I love the fact that, I mean, Precision said something that I picked up on. I don't know if it was I think it was while we were on stream. I think when he dropped in our stream last week, Precision, check out Precision TV, by the way, on Twitch, friend of the channel. He mentioned that there hasn't been any major, there has been, but the list of releases for PS4 hasn't been as extensive as it was for previous gens, save for like some of the best stuff are remakes of previous games and things like that, which I was thinking, I instantly took issue with that, and then I'm thinking, okay, do I take issue with that? And I'm not sure. I've still not really thought it through.
Is a reboot considered a remake? Because if you're looking at Resident Evil 7, which was just another number on the end of a Resident Evil game, that was a completely new experience. It was the first time we'd had a first person. Well, I say it's the first time, it's the third time, but as a main state game, the other two was just shit light gun games. But this was like a proper. It was essentially like a reboot with the Resident Evil franchise because of how shit 5 and 6 was. Then we've got Remake 2, which was a completely reimagining of the second one, and then Remake 3, which is a reimagining of the third one. That in their own sense are completely different games.
See, I'd say a reboot is a different game. I'd say a remake is the same game, but obviously it's not that I wouldn't judge it less because it's the same game. Resident Evil 2 is the same game. It's different. They've remade it. It's different. So I'm all above that. I think a reboot, like a God of War, is an entirely different game. It's using the same characters and the same ideas and theory behind it.
It's the same lore, isn't it? He's the same character. He's got a wife. He's had a child. He's just 30 years in the future or whatever it might be. I like. Yeah, I'm happy enough to see a reboot as a completely different thing. Although name checking kind of funny. One thing that they said talking about Resident Evil, which then ties in Precision's comment of there's been a lot less like new things this generation. Kind of funny kind of touched on it as well, which I suppose is something to consider when we touch on comments like that. He says high five to Capcom because we've got Resident Evil 2. Which it was Tim motherfucking Getty's even, he was talking about that was his game of the year last year, and then 12, 13 months later, 5 months later, whatever it is, there's a new Resident Evil game coming out, which is, if it follows in the same vein as that, could be another potential candidate for Game of the Year. He says, and shout out to Capcom, because that's like PS1. In the PS1, we had like Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 all on the same generation. He says, but now, you're lucky if you get 2 games in one generation because of the production time. Obviously, back then, it was like, okay, we'll get some dude in the back just hitting a bit of metal, and that's our sound capture process. Whereas now, you've got like full recording studios, you've got orchestras and composers doing all the audio production, you've got talent managers out getting the best voice actors, Troy Baker usually, but then you'll get anyone else in the games industry that has really good sound quality, and then you're going through all that, and then you've got motion capture, and you've got the environment production, then you've got to actually find an engine that can deliver it. Obviously Resident Evil have that, but all of that process of doing that, granted when you're doing remakes, you've got a script and you've got everything rewritten, you still have that production time and stuff there. With them, a lot of the time in the production will be just going into getting the engine and making sure it works and getting something that they can work on, which is why 14 months, 15 months, whatever it is, later on, we can get Resident Evil, the next one. Yeah. And we could do the next one, but you've got a finite amount of scripts there to work on. Originally, Resident Evil 3 was going to be bundled in with Resident Evil 2. It was just going to be one game. So, obviously, it would be 2 parts kind of thing. So, you select Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3 from the title screen. But they didn't have enough time to be able to do that, which I'm glad, really, because they've been able to focus and split the teams up and go, right, you finish that one, we'll begin this one, take it wherever we need to do. But this, as a game, was all done via motion capture and CGI rendering of rooms and creation using the Resident Evil engine, which is, again, one of my favourite engines. The way that they can get the atmosphere into the room using the shading, using the mocap into the game, so you can see people running, and the way that they talk, it just looks realistic. Obviously, that wasn't the case with Resident Evil 2 originally, because it was a top-down one. Resident Evil 3 wasn't meant to be a thing. Resident Evil, the third Resident Evil was meant to be called Veronica, but they split the teams up and said, right, you do that one, which is why it's way shorter than the rest of the other Resident Evil games. You can complete Resident Evil 3 in 2 hours if you wanted to. Speedrunners have done it in less than an hour. It's not a long game. So, I can see why people don't necessarily think that this is the strongest generation, but I feel like the quality of games, like how many Spider-Man games has there been? This is easily the best one we've ever had. How many Resident Evil games has there been? Easily, probably one of the best ones we've ever had.
2000.
Depending on who you asked, it's easily one of the best Resident Evil games that we've ever seen. God of War, how many have they been? This is easily the best one we've ever seen. So, fair enough, they're using titles that people already are aware of, that they know full well. They put a game out, you're going to get money. It's the same with sports games. How many shit sports games have we had over the 30 years that they've been knocking about? Arguably, visually, this is the best one we've ever had. Whether or not the game plays as well as it has, we don't. That's for whoever it is that's decided to play it. But yeah, it's an interesting time. We are going to get more of this because, again, how many Forzas has there been? There's been 1,000,001 of them. But yeah, I love having little small debates like this because everyone's got their own opinions on them. I think this generation is easily, hands down, been the most enjoyable as a single player experience. Multiplayer for me, always.
Yeah, I like the switch back to single player. I think because last generation everyone was saying single player is dead, and this generation everyone's been like, is it all right?
That's what I mean. As long as you get more single player games where they're putting more emphasis on how good the story is, I don't care about putting a multiplayer game in there, a multiplayer part of it. If the story's good, make the single player game. We've seen it with The Last of Us, for fuck's sake, they put a multiplayer in that, no one played it. No one getting. When you talk about The Last of Us,
it was apparently really good. I didn't play it. I mean, I'm one of the biggest Last of Us fans out there, but I didn't play the multiplayer because.
When you talk about The Last of Us, you don't talk about the multiplayer side of it, do you? You talk about how good the storyline is. So if we can get more single player games where the story is absolutely phenomenal, the gameplay is good, and we've got potential to see more of it, then fair dues, make a trilogy of them, providing that they're decent.
Just do what Last of Us doing with Last of Us 2 and don't do multiplayer and potentially add that one.
Well, you've seen it, Red Dead Redemption. They brought the second one out. I don't think anyone's played the multiplayer part of it. Why would you when GTA 5's thriving as
Lewis
much as
played a bit on stream and I was like, oh, Battle Royale, 16 man, I'm out. Just going to jump into the comments though. Quick Google search says photogrammetry is a 3D scan technique using a 3D scanner or other means to render a 3D image. Well, there you go. Have you seen the Alienware PC handheld console, which is pretty much the Switch in design? We covered that on last week's show, Precision. God. Precision. I wasn't having a go at the industry. Yes, you was. No, we didn't think you were having a go. But, I mean, they do have to retexture all the new games. So I just wanted new memories from new game. And again, it could be me being a bit narrow-minded with the game genres, but a lot of people agreed. No, it's a completely valid. I didn't think you were having a go actually. It was kind of it's one of those like observation pieces. That's what I was saying. I kind of need to probably have a bit of time to process it because there isn't as much. Like you look back at the PS2 genre timeline, should I say, and you start thinking of Metal Gear Solid 3 and Metal. Well, obviously you got Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, and then you start going through all the football games, and then you start just thinking of all these paths that you got set out on in your gaming life of things that you've never played before. And maybe what I've just mentioned before in terms of technology, maybe that does kind of squash it down a bit because I mean, I've said earlier on in the stream, Tony Hawk games, also it's exactly Tony Hawk, but like I touched on it earlier on, I don't really play indie games. I like my big all singing, all dancing things because I like to live at the top echelon of a genre kind of thing. So once I've had something big, I want to kind of push it, which I suppose kind of cuts me off a little bit in that essence because anything that's at the top of the genre is going to take 7 years to make, 5 years to make, 4 years to make, something like that. Whereas when games were made for the PS1 and PS2, it took them a year, 2 years to make, kind of thing. So I got a Tony Hawk game and I got a PES 5 game and a whatever game it was. There was a Spider-Man game PS2, which is class as well, by the way. But like those games were coming out thick and fast because a studio could go, okay, well we can make this game, and it's only going to take a year or two to dev. Whereas now studios are like, okay, if I want to make that big AAA thing, it's going to take millions of pounds to dev, and if it doesn't do well, I'm going to tank, and the company's going to go bust. So
there's a reason why Call of Duties are brought out every year. It's because there's 3 separate studios working on them. That's the only way they're able to do that. That's why we don't see a Battlefield every year now. Battlefield's been going since 2002, I think. It came out on the original Xbox. the original Battlefield, and now we're only on 6. So that's nearly 20 years that they've been able to hammer out 6 games. There's a reason why they do so well. Is because they have a live. Well, now they have a live service. We're not bringing out a new one out until the new consoles come out next year. So it all comes down to personal preference. I'm not a massive multiplayer game person. I just there is games that I play online, which is usually GTA, a first-person shooter, a football game.
Fortnite.
Fortnite, yeah. But when it comes to, I'd much rather sit through a 40-hour storyline game. That's just the way I've always played games. Single player for me will always be amazing, providing that they get it right. There's been so many single-player games that I fucking hated, but I've finished anyway.
See, I'm. It's kind of interesting to see how I've changed. I've realised a little bit. I love first-person story games, but they're the ones that are backing up for me, and that's at the expense of, like, not meaningless, but meaningless from a story perspective, like throwaway games like a PUBG, like a Fortnite, and things like that. And I think that's just because I'm old and busy. I don't have as much time, so playing an hour on Fortnite or an hour on PUBG is easy enough to do, whereas putting an hour into Jedi Fallen Order, I'm not going to finish the new world. I need 2 hours to finish that world, so okay, I'll give it a bit. Or an hour in Luigi's Mansion, I've not really done anything because all I've done is go, oh, I don't get anywhere. That's it. So yeah, I like the idea of single player story games, but at the moment I'm just thinking I don't have that much time, or even the fact that the games industry around me has changed, so I've got battle pass commitments and season pass commitments. When I say commitments, it's not a commitment, but I want to get my money's worth.
Exactly.
Just give us more Superman 64 remakes, says Ads Plays. Good morning.
Let's not. Please, God. Please, for the love of God, no.
But I think that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. We've gone off on a tangent a little bit. Long story short, Microsoft isn't releasing any exclusives. Resident Evil looks like it's still on course.
Yay.
What were the other stories?
Cyberpunk 2077 has a demake available in Dreams, which absolutely looks glorious.
And Nintendo's filed a new trademark application for the Mario Luigi series, which basically could just be they've gone, okay, we own this, let's update the paperwork on it. Absolutely. But there could be a new game. You never know. You never know. And that's kind of it for today. Big start to the week, actually, that. And it must be because we've been waffling on stream for almost an hour and a half. So thank you very much, everyone that has joined us in the chat, including Ads, just seeing you there. Precision for getting angry and aggressive at the entire games industry, singling every single... No, I'm joking. For starting conversations, it's nice to see those conversations because...
Absolutely. That's what I mean. We love hearing other people's opinions because we've got our own. If we can find the middle ground in between all that, then that benefits everybody.
Yeah, exactly. And he mentioned Tony Hawk's games as well, so I mean, deserves credit just for allowing us to bring that kickflip McTwist. There we go. I've said it. I can't talk about Tony Hawk without saying kickflip McTwist.
Sitting here raging, aye,
laddie. But that is it. Excuse me 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much once again for joining us. Let's jump to the front cam. Joining us here this Monday morning. Obviously, we will be back tomorrow 10 a.m. ish from the studio. I may not be in the studio. It may be Bib and Jeroen. We will confirm in due course, and the best way for you to get that confirmation is to either type !socials in the chat right now, which will give you links to all our social channels, or just go straight to our socials at Ice Cream Uploads across all social media. We do tweet out before we go live every single morning to give you the link, to give you an update on what we are talking about during the show, and to let you know who will be involved in that. So make sure you go to Twitter now, hit follow at Ice Cream Uploads, and if you're on the channel and you haven't followed yet, you can hit the follow button just like Mandalore the Ultimate 223 did in the last hour. He hit follow so that he can get notified, or she, I'm just generalising on the Mandalorian, but you know, there's plenty of Mandalorians, so yes, hit the follow button now. You will get notified each and every time we go live. 10 a.m. tomorrow we will be back, and Josie will be streaming potentially more Death Stranding. I've not spoken to her, so I don't know. Tomorrow after that at 12, so double stream tomorrow, double stream on Wednesday too. And that is it. Anything you want to add yourself, Pip?
If you do see anything knocking about in the video game world that you'd like to hear our opinions of, or you've got some yourself, feel free to tag either We've Got Babinho, which is me, Bibbit. You can have Graham_Day, because that's Graham Day. At Jeroen, which is JEROON, I think.
He's not on screen, but I will bring it up now. There it is.
There you go, because he obviously will be co-hosting with us at some point this week as well, so feel free to tag him, and obviously the Ice Cream Uploads accounts as well. We will include your thoughts and opinions and the piece in the very next show.
Lovely. Well, that is it. Have yourselves a lovely day. 10 a.m. tomorrow we will be back. Set your alarms because we want to see you there. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, stay frosty.